So one of my favorite things that happens as an NBA fan is when we view a player in a certain way, and all of a sudden the context around that player changes significantly. And they're probably the same exact player, but now you're forced to look at them differently. Now they might be forced to do things differently, right? So there's a few of those situations coming up next year that I am extremely excited for. Let's start with Anthony Davis. Now, in the midst of the Luka trade, everyone talking about how dumb of a trade it was for Dallas. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I do think even before that, it's been hard to gauge how good Anthony Davis actually is. And I don't know if he will be this upcoming year, but I think AD has been a top 10 player in the NBA the last few years. And it seems kind of crazy to say at this point in his career, but I feel like we actually might be sleeping on AD just a little bit. And this Dallas Mavericks team is awesome. And we were never going to be fully able to appreciate AD playing alongside LeBron James. Even if AD became the best player, which is debatable, even if he was, right, it was never going to feel that way, especially when you consider the playmaking aspect of the game, how LeBron was going to have the ball more, right? And when you look at this Mavericks team, what are they missing? Shot creation, playmaking, an aspect of the game I would say AD is not very great at. Maybe he's decent for his position, but AD has not historically been a great passer. AD has very bad tunnel vision once he puts the ball on the floor. AD and Bam are very similar in this, where if they get the ball and they're standing still, stationary, they could, survey the court, make a good read. But once they put the ball down, it's going up. But again, the context has now changed. AD started playing with LeBron when he was 26 years old. And the year before he came to LA, he averaged a career-high 3.9 assists per game. So maybe he was taking that playmaking leap before he got with LeBron, and then he played with LeBron, so why would he ever need to be a playmaking hub? But then he went to Dallas, and in those 9 games in Dallas, he averaged 4.4 assists in just 29 minutes per game. And I don't know if you guys remember that first game up against Houston where he put up 26 points, 16 boards, 7 assists in just 31 minutes. So what if we're about to see the evolution of AD as a playmaker? What if he averages, 5 assists per game this year? What if he's grabbing the board and going coast to coast and not waiting for a LeBron? What does that actually look like? How far can that go? How good can AD actually be in this role? What does AD as your primary shot creator look like in 2025 as opposed to 2018, the last time we actually seen it? And even that scenario, he had Rondo, he had Drew Holiday, he now has D'Lo, right? They have that connection, but there's going to be a lot on AD's plate as a playmaker. And I'm extremely excited to see what that looks like because we might really be sleeping on it. Again, we haven't had the opportunity to see him in this light in 7 years. There's a chance he's a much better passer than he was 7 years ago. I don't really see it when I watch him, but there's a chance he's learned a lot from LeBron in those 7 years. So I can't wait to watch that, and I also just can't wait to watch this team in general, right? Cooper Flag, obviously. I think Klay Thompson's going to have a huge year. Maybe not a huge year for Klay, because what does that actually mean? I think he's going to have a really good year. And I would also watch out for this team on the trade market to go get another creator. I'm looking at Chris Middleton. I'm looking at CJ McCollum, for that matter. I'm looking at Malik Monk. If Bradley Beal is actually bought out, I said in my last video that if I was Bradley Beal, this would be my number one option. So I can't wait to actually watch this team. Nico Harrison, props, I guess. Yeah. Moving on, another player where at this time last year, we were talking about this guy being traded. And I think majority of people were on board with the idea of trading this player. And now he has the best supporting cast he's had in his entire career. And I'm talking about Trey Young. And not only did Atlanta go out and put the best team they've ever put around Trey, obviously Indiana and Boston are going to be down this year. So you look around and the Hawks on paper look like a top 4 seed in the East pretty easily, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it looks like Trey Young's going to have a real opportunity here to remind people of what they thought of him a couple years ago. Since that conference finals run, we've seen Halliburton, of course, we've seen Cade, and we've seen Brunson all kind of elevate above Trey Young in the pecking order in the Eastern Conference point guards. And some might argue unfairly because of the situation Trey Young has been in, But now he has a very good team. Not only are they very good, they're young, they're going to keep getting better, and he's poised to be the leader of this team and take them however far they can actually get. Trey Young is someone that was being talked about as an MVP candidate years ago. Now people are not even having him be an all-star, right? So Trey Young could be the biggest winner of this whole entire season if he goes on just another conference finals run, which I'm saying like it's easy to do, but you get what I'm saying. Like, maybe I'm tripping, but me personally, I would not be very surprised if Trey Young had a first team All-NBA type of year. Maybe that's crazy, but I think it's in the cards. But those are the main two guys. Like, there's a world where the best AD is Dallas Mavericks AD. Like, that could happen, right? That could be how he's remembered. Now, it would have to be a crazy 3 or 4 year run here for him to be remembered that way, but it's very, very possible in my eyes. Maybe you guys don't see it that way. Two guys I wanted to pair with each other for obvious reasons, Zion and Brandon Ingram. Now, I just made a video about Brandon Ingram if you want to go watch that video, but just those guys being separated from each other. The narrative has kind of been that Brandon Ingram was holding back Zion. Zion, you have a full team built around you now. I'm not really sure what they're doing with that team, but CJ's gone, BI's gone, DeJounte's hurt. Zion, it's your chance to step up and be the leader of this team, be one of the best players in the NBA, and actually give the Pelicans something to believe in. That's kind of self-explanatory. I have more thoughts about Zion's game, but we could save that for another day. So BI and Zion, again, go watch my Brandon Ingram video if you're wondering what I think about Brandon Ingram. Another guy, Kevin Durant. I don't want to say he hasn't had expectations, because people have been saying the Phoenix Suns were going to be great the last 2 years. So there were expectations for sure. But now it's getting dicey, right? I think majority of rational people look at the Brooklyn situation, understand they got unlucky injuries, the Kyrie situation. I think the toe on the line, right? I think we all give KD grace for that. I think people had a problem with the way he left Brooklyn, and I think that's going to end up being the biggest mistake of his career. When you think about it, you were in New York, you were going to be the greatest net ever, and after the Kyrie trade, they had assets to build around you. They could have built a championship team around you in Brooklyn. You wanted to leave for whatever was going on in the front office, all that. We'll never really know what was going on there. But he was making, Brooklyn look cool with the gray courts, the throwback to the Julius Erving jerseys, right? It really seemed like Brooklyn was going to be home for KD. He goes to Phoenix, right? Phoenix blows up their team that went to the finals to get KD. So if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, you kind of feel a way about that. Then KD, I don't want to say doesn't produce, because statistically, the numbers are incredible, right? KD's still KD. I'm not sure what else you want from KD. But if you're a Suns fan under the age of 30, you blew up probably your favorite team of all time to go get KD. He leaves in 2 years, and now he goes to Houston. But unlike Phoenix, the Rockets did not give up much for Kevin Durant. But there is now pressure on Kevin Durant to, I don't want to say lead this team, because I feel like Freddie's the leader of this team. And I'm not saying that facetiously. Like when Kawhi went to Toronto, Kyle Lowry was the leader of that team. I feel like it's a similar situation where Freddie is the leader of the team, but there's going to be a lot on KD to be the number one option every single night. As great as this team is, they lack on-ball creation a little bit. We'll see what happens with Reed Shepherd. And I don't want to doubt KD. I look at this team, I feel like they should be the second best team in the NBA on paper. But are we thinking about a prime Kevin Durant? Now, I know the numbers still look like prime Kevin Durant, but in terms of what it takes to carry a team offensively every night, not just get yours, right? We know he can get his. And of course, it all hinges on the development of Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson. And I made the comparison with the 2019 Raptors, but is this version of KD doing what Kawhi did back then? Maybe that's unfair. It's not apples to apples, but I think it's still going to take that level of performance from KD for this team to actually win. And I'm not sure we should just be expecting that. Like I said, I think this team will be great. I believe they are the second best team in the NBA on paper, right? On paper. But I also just wouldn't be surprised if it's now a third fan base in a row that is extremely upset with the Kevin Durant experience. I could see that happening. I could see this team winning one playoff series in Kevin Durant's time there. because the West is absolutely crazy. And I could see this also being a team that makes a move for a Chris Middleton, a Bradley Beal, CJ, a player like that, because I do believe they need more shot creation to help out KD a little bit. But again, we don't know what Amin Thompson's going to be. We don't know what Şengün's going to be. We don't know what Reed Shepherd's going to be, right? So we'll see on that front. I'm high on this team, but I'm also prepared for it not to go as well as we're thinking. And the last guy I want to bring up here is DeAaron Fox. Now, I was not a fan of them getting DeAaron Fox. I like DeAaron Fox as a player, but I feel like Wemby and Fox as your two best players is not enough playmaking. And now you bring in Dylan Harper, you got Stephon Castle, and is DeAaron Fox really the type of point guard that's going to bring that all together? I don't really see him in that light. And they don't have players that are going to get DeAaron going either, right? They don't have passing on this team. Obviously, Dylan Harper can grow into that, but he's more of a bucket right now. And again, DeAaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, like I don't feel like that's enough playmaking around Wemby. And I want to make it clear, by no means am I saying the Spurs are going to be bad. Am I saying DeAaron Fox is going to be bad? I think they'll make it work. But at the end of this year, is San Antonio going to feel like that's our guy going forward? I'm not sure about that. And remember, at the beginning of this video, I said the context might change the way we are forced to look at a player, or it might force said player to do things differently. So maybe we see a different version of DeAaron Fox. Maybe we see a DeAaron Fox only putting up 20 points per game and 8 assists, right? Maybe he has that in his bag. Maybe we get elite defense and there is no problem at all. Spurs pay him, don't got to think about it. Now, the thing is, they're going to pay him regardless. Even if they don't believe he's the perfect fit, they're going to pay him because you don't want to lose out on the asset. You can move him later. So we'll never have a resolution unless they just straight up trade him, and that's not going to happen. But I'm extremely excited to see what DeAaron Fox looks like in this new situation, and maybe he proves me completely wrong. Maybe it's a perfect fit. But if we get DeAaron Fox being one of the best point guard defenders in the NBA, which he's capable of doing, then maybe we're talking, right? Maybe this team can be a top 5 defense in the NBA with Fox, Wemby, Luke Kornet, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell. Like that's an amazing defense. But offensively, it's going to be a little bit clunky. And I'm already asking the question because I didn't believe it before they got Dylan Harper. But now I'm really asking, is DeAaron Fox going to be here long? And hopefully he proves me wrong. I like DeAaron Fox. I know it sounds like I don't, but I do. That just wouldn't be the guy I want to pair with Wemby. And something nobody is really talking about right now, DeAaron Fox is going to be on the last year of his deal this year. The last year of his deal. So what, I think the Spurs are watching what I'm watching. Is he going to be a clean fit with Wemby? What if Dylan Harper's amazing from day one? Do we need that next to Dylan Harper? Do we need more defense next to Dylan Harper? More size, more passing? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. On the road to 10,000 subscribers. We are almost there. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.